Title II, Attorney John Foy and Associates.
You're watching News 12 on your side.
Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 at 6 o'clock.
And new tonight at 6 o'clock, the I-Team uncovers new information about another deputy suspended after another sex scandal at the Richmond County Sheriff's Office.
We first told you about two other incidents involving deputies last month. Two were fired after documents show they lied about having an inappropriate relationship with each other. One of them, a member of the sheriff's command staff and a 24-year veteran. Two other supervisors were demoted after having sex on duty with each other. Disciplinary records show they got caught when an open mic broadcast it over dispatch radio. During our I-Team investigation, we discovered a third separate incident, only this one doesn't involve two deputies.
As Meredith Anderson uncovered, it involves a deputy and a woman who called 911 because she says she feared for her life.
The deputy sent to help admitted to having sex with her. The sheriff's office investigated. He was suspended, then back on the job. That was a year ago, but the I-Team just recently got a tip about it. Our own investigation raises serious questions about how the sheriff's office investigates itself. We begin on the road, heading out of the area to meet up with the woman at the center of this.
So I packed my stuff up and I left town.
You thought he was fired.
Yeah, I found out that his buddies won justice for him getting fired.
Richmond County Deputy Joshua Williams wasn't fired, though. He was suspended and back to answering calls a few weeks later, which was surprising to Haley. But this surprised even us.
Did anyone from the Richmond County Sheriff's Office ever call you?
No.
So I was the first person.
In a year, first person to ever reach out.
Surprising because Deputy Joshua Williams admitted to Sheriff Richard Roundtree and top command staff he had sexual intercourse on duty, and not with a girlfriend or even someone he knew. Documents say it was a complainant on the call, meaning someone calling for help. It wasn't that difficult for the I-Team to use public records to figure out who that someone was. After a few open records requests, we even had body cam. So let's begin a timeline here. October 20th, 2022. 2 minutes and 7 seconds after Deputy Joshua Williams arrives on scene at the Super 8 Motel on Washington Road in reference to harassing phone calls.
I'm scared.
When you say threatening, he's made like violent threats or the threats of
That
arrest?
he is.
Deputy Williams continues to look through her phone as she describes the alleged threats. She tells him she's pregnant.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file a harassing communications charge.
It's now been a little more than 3.5 minutes since Deputy Williams activated his body cam. He continues to gather information and ask questions until a hotel employee interrupts him.
I don't, but what you got?
You see him walk to another room where the employee hands him something the previous tenant left behind.
Okay. So you don't want that? You don't want it? They're bullets.
Deputy Williams takes the magazine, but then opens several drawers in the empty hotel room. He's on the phone when he walks back to his patrol car to finish taking Haley's information. Haley asks that we just use her first name and that we don't disclose where she's living now. She says she still fears retaliation from that day because the deputy was punished. The last thing you hear is Deputy Williams tell Haley a time frame of when she can pick up the paperwork.
This report most likely won't be ready until Tuesday, earliest.
Right after, he reaches up and turns his body cam off. The timestamp is 18:34:25 or 6:34 p.m. According to the disciplinary report, the view of the Super 8 camera shows Deputy Williams exiting his vehicle and walking to the room. Deputy Williams did not clear the call until 18:44 hours, 10 minutes after he turned off his body cam. The report also says the sheriff's office only discovered what happened when a lieutenant learned Williams left part of his uniform, 2 belt keepers, in a hotel room while on a call. When asked about it, he admitted he left them after having sexual intercourse.
If he hadn't left part of his uniform in your room, do you think anyone would have ever found out?
I don't think so. Part of me is glad that he left some of his uniform in the room.
Haley will be the first to tell you. She's had a rough past. She told me she's lived on the street and even worked as an escort before. She says she wasn't working that day, though. She was hiding from an ex. Almost a year later, Haley says she's had time to think about what happened.
Do you feel like you were taken advantage of?
Honestly, yes. I did.
While she says she didn't tell Deputy Williams no that day, looking back, she realizes there was a power imbalance.
Him being in uniform, I knew I didn't really have much of a voice.
Deputy Williams was suspended for 10 days and put on probation for a year for conduct unbecoming. But that's not all. When the sheriff's office went to look for his body cam to investigate, he hadn't turned it in for this shift or 2 others. He was also suspended a day for that. And remember the bullets? Supervisors eventually saw him take those on camera and noticed there wasn't a report about it. When asked about it, he said they were at his house. The report goes on to say he was suspended a day for that, too, but notes he turned them into the property room. On the report, it says Chief Deputy Patrick Clayton recommended to fire Deputy Williams, but no one else, including Sheriff Richard Roundtree himself, agreed. Deputy Williams did apologize and told the sheriff's office he would seek professional help. As for Haley, she's just glad she finally gets to tell her story.
And I'm glad that someone reached out, because this is not right.
Deputy Williams was back on calls not long after this happened, but he has since been demoted. Last February, he was pulled from road patrol and sent to work at the jail after his 4th accident in his patrol car in 3 years, all of which were listed as his fault. Now, we wanted to talk to Sheriff Richard Roundtree about this, but he said he respectfully declined. We also asked the PIO twice if we could speak with Joshua Williams. We have not gotten a response from either email.
All right, thank you for looking into that for us, Meredith. We did have a very warm afternoon with high temps as you head off to school. Heading home from school, another warm day with highs back at least into the low 80s. Full look at that weekend for you in just a bit.
The owner of the dogs that mauled young Justin Gilstrap pleaded guilty to reckless conduct today. Justin, who was 11 at the time, was riding his bike on Langston Drive near his home in Columbia County when the dogs attacked him back in January. Gilstrap has had multiple surgeries for his injuries. He'll never have hair again after the dogs ripped most of his scalp off. Burt Baker, who'd been out on bond, entered a plea and was sentenced to just 12 months of probation for the misdemeanor, along with $400 a month to the family. Erica Stevens, Justin's mother, gave us a quote after today's hearing saying, "Our justice system failed Justin today. I'm just grateful to have my baby, and he wasn't killed that night, because that could have very easily been the case. This isn't over yet, and I will continue to fight for Justin." In addition to criminal charges, the victim's family sued Baker, seeking punitive damages, and the family also sued the county. Tonight, a child is being treated at the Joseph M. Still Burn Center after getting burned in a barrel fire earlier today. The North Augusta Department of Public Safety says it happened on Hutchinson Drive near North Augusta Middle around 1. New details from the sheriff's office say the child was playing in the backyard of the home and was burned after setting a trash can on fire with gasoline. We're still trying to find out how old that child is and how badly burned.
New developments in the investigation into unsafe housing conditions at Fort Gordon. Tomorrow, the Secretary of the Army will get a first-hand look at privatized family housing at Fort Gordon. News 12's Meredith Anderson has been investigating this for more than a decade now, with families complaining about unhealthy conditions. Senator John Ossoff is leading this investigation into the reports of unsafe conditions, including mold, leaking sewage, pest problems, and electrical and gas issues. Families who lived in the housing but have since moved out report health problems like memory loss and chronic fatigue. Earlier this year, contractors inspected every unit, and tomorrow the Army Secretary, Christine Wormuth, will tour the housing alongside Fort Gordon leadership and representatives from Balfour Beatty, which runs the units. And it's all happening at the same day Fort Gordon is being renamed Fort Eisenhower. Georgia's election chief stopping in one of our counties today to make sure everything is in shape for a fair election process.
Brad Ravensburger and his team.
Georgia's election chief stopping in one of our counties today to make sure everything is in shape for a fair election process.
Brad Ravensburger and his team are calling this a health check out of the 2024 presidential race. Nick Veland shows us the process.
Ballots going in to ensure that everything is working properly. A machine health check in Glasscock County looks to put the minds of voters at ease going into the 2024 election.
We know what's on these ballots. We know what it should give us when we're done.
Brad Raffensperger and his team putting in sample ballots.
And it's returning the ballot. Paper inserted was misread and could not be verified.
So that's just a simple misread error.
To work out the kinks.
It's casting, processing, work perfectly fine.
Raffensperger putting every county to the test in order to boost voter confidence.
It's really about confidence, because we know that the machines are secure, the processes are in place for security.
Now Raffensperger hopes that these tests proves that your vote is counted.
That there has been nothing that's happened to them, so all the votes are going to be accurate. And so we want people to be prepared to understand the machines are going to record your votes as you cast it.
So far, no major issues during the test, only minor things like screen cracks and damaged paper receivers. He knows that no matter what, one side won't like the outcome of the election.
At the end of the race, that half the people are going to be happy and the other half won't be. But we want them to have 100% confidence that their vote was actually recorded.
This was county 80 of 159 that Raffensperger and his team have checked up on, and they hope to have all of them done by the end of the year. In Glasscock County, Nick Veland on your side.
Off-year elections are in a couple of weeks on November 7th, and the 2024 presidential cycle makes its way to Georgia in March for the primaries.
You know, those softballs are still flying down in Columbus, Georgia, and we are live there for the Softball State Elite 8 just ahead in sports.
And most spots hit the 80s today, and we are looking at the 80s to continue all the way through the weekend, but big changes next week. We'll have that full forecast next.
Time and On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
Day 2 of the GHSA Softball State Elite 8 is in full swing, and so far this tournament has been an emotional roller coaster from the first pitch. All 5 of our local teams are back on the diamond today, and News 12's Alyssa Lyons joins us live from Columbus with the latest on these games that continue to live up to the hype.
Dan, everybody's luck has really turned around today. ECI is up 9-2. Glasscock County is up 4-3. Harlem is up 4-0. So it seems like everybody's living to see another day. For Washington, Wilkes, and Georgia Military, the deeper that you go into this tournament, the tighter these games get, and that was no different earlier this afternoon. Both teams sat scoreless into the top of the 6th. Allie Huckey in the circle for the Lady Tigers found a way to get her team out of tough situations and find momentum when it counted. In the bottom of the 5th, she handed the Bulldogs 1, 2, and 3 to end the inning. At the plate, the Lady Tigers had 7 hits. They kept Georgia Military to 6 through 8 innings. After each picking up 2 in the 6th and sitting dry in the 7th, Cameron Rogers came up big to score 2 and make it final. Washington Wilkes is moving on 4-2.
It's great. I know my infield has my back, my outfield has my back, my whole team has my back, and when we come in to hit, I know that we're going to get some hits, we're going to rally, and I just love my team.
Allie Huckey had 5 strikeouts earlier this afternoon. We have so much more softball coming up for you later on this evening. A lot of these teams have a little bit of community support out here. Grovetown is now watching Harlem's game, and before they take the field, we'll have their game at 7 o'clock.
Alyssa, these games just keep getting crazier and crazier, and it's so great to hear that things are turning around for our teams. Thank you as always, and we're far from done for tonight because as we talked about, Grovetown, Harlem, Glasscock County, and Emmanuel County Institute are all facing elimination, and we'll have the latest on all of these matchups tonight at 11.
All right, thanks, Dan. Does fall weather make you crave apple flavors? Stick around to find out where you can go for your apple pie in the sky dreams to come true. Next on One Tank Trips.
First Alert Radar. Powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group. It's not
Are you an Apple fan? Do you like apple pie, cider, all the Apple products? Up in Hendersonville, North Carolina, you'll find a special apple orchard.
Beautiful spot. You can't pick the apples right now, but as Wrdw shows us in this week's One Tank Trip, there's a lot to do.
This is apple country.
Back when my grandfather was doing it, it was really all there was in Hendersonville was apple orchards.
Today, Henderson County, North Carolina is one of the 20 largest apple-producing counties in the country.
Soil conditions and climate, I think, have a lot to do with this being such a good area to grow apples.
Fifth-generation farmer Corey Justice says the same freeze that hurt peaches hurt apples too, and they lost more than half of this year's crop. His family's orchard offers you-pick apple trees, but because of the freeze, they've already been picked clean. But for them, that doesn't mean apple season is over.
A lot of times we jokingly say that we're turning into a bakery that sells apples rather than an apple orchard that sells bakery items.
People line up to try their homemade apple pies, donuts, fritters, and more. They're also still selling apples picked from a separate orchard. Outside, there's a playground for kids of all ages to enjoy, with more activities on the weekends. This orchard isn't just an orchard anymore. It's kind of like a mini apple festival.
It's been a part of the family for so many generations. It's kind of an obligation at this point to keep it going. But I enjoy seeing the fruits of my labor.
Every fall, thousands of visitors do too. In Hendersonville, Wrdw, on your side.
Thanks for watching News 12 on your side.
Words?
Quick look at our 7-day forecast. We are going to hang on to dry weather the next 7 days and warm highs in the 80s all the way through Monday.
Our next live update comes at 7 o'clock on NBC 26.
Then we're back with more News 12 at 11. We'll see you then.
At the CBS Evening News, we focus on solutions, finding solutions to help people understand what are the right choices to make for you and your family.
Join us right